Ah, my old enemy, the parking ramp. Well, what do you think? Can the refreshed 2021 Tiggo5x Lux make that climb up my steep parking ramp? Well, stick around to find out. Let's do this. You know that feeling when you're about to encounter your worst enemy?
Ah, my old enemy. Stairs.
Well, you break out in a cold sweat, your hands become clammy, and the butterflies start partying in your stomach. Well, that's exactly what I felt when I received a call from Chery Auto Philippines, and they said that they're sending over the refreshed 2021 Chery Tiggo5x Lux to me for 1 week. You see, when I did my review of the 2020 Chery Tiggo5x Lux last year, one of the biggest drawbacks about that crossover was its difficulty in negotiating my steep parking ramp. Now, I found that kind of weird because even the smaller Tiggo 2 didn't have any issues in climbing that said ramp. Now, it may have been my test unit at that time, and to prove that it was just a fluke, well, we have here the refreshed 2021 Chery Tiggo5x Lux, which was graciously provided to us by Chery Auto Philippines to do this review. The Tiggo5x Lux has received a mild update for 2021, and yet the price still remains the same. This top-spec Chery Tiggo5x Lux still has a retail price of 970,000 Philippine pesos, which is great news considering we get a few added features. Now, Chery Auto said that they included rear AC vents now, a new set of wheels and tires, plus updated speakers, but we'll see in this review if, well, the updates are more than just skin deep. The front fascia of the Tiggo5x Lux remains unchanged from last year, which means that it still looks like the kid brother of the larger Tiggo 8 Lux EX. Now, we still don't get that newer face that we've seen in the Chery Tiggo 7 Pro. Now, having said that, we still get xenon headlights here, a pair of LED DRLs on the front bumper, and that crouching tiger front grille. And no, you won't find any hidden dragons here. Now, the side profile will show off the first major change in this refresh, and those are the wheels. Now, these wheels are still 17-inch alloys, but the design has changed, and we no longer get those Chow Yan tires from the Tiggo5x Luxes from last year. Instead, Chery Auto Philippines saw it fit to give the refresh a set of GT Comfort tires, and the sidewalls have also gone up to 215/60 R17s. Now, that would dramatically alter the driving dynamic of this refreshed Tiggo5x Lux versus the car that we drove last year. However, the mechanicals still remain the same. We still get disc brakes on all four corners, plus for your front suspension, we have a MacPherson setup in the front and a rear torsion beam at the back. Now, the ground clearance still stands at 190 millimeters, which is perfectly decent for a subcompact crossover. Now, other notable carryovers from the previous model is a set of power folding side mirrors with LED turn signals and that inverted dinner knife that we found at the bottom of the doors. The rear end of the Tiggo5x Lux looks pretty similar to the pricier Kia Sportage GT line. Now, don't believe me? Well, check out this side-by-side photo. Now, let's not get into the argument of who copied whom, but let's just put it this way, guys. They both look good. Now, the Tiggo5x Lux gets a beautifully designed taillight assembly here, plus just enough chrome to keep things classy. Now, pop open that manual liftgate, and you'll get 340 liters of trunk capacity, which is good enough for one medium-sized luggage, plus a hand carry bag right beside it. Now, if you need more space than 340 liters, well, the back seats can tumble down to give you more cargo capacity. Now, the good thing here also is the Tiggo5x Lux also comes with a donut spare tire right there, so that should increase your, well, peace of mind. The engine of the Tiggo 5X Lux remains the same to the one found last year, but it seems that they made some adjustments here and there because my driving experience is totally different. You see, we still get the same 1.5-liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated gasoline engine that puts out 114 horses and 141 Newton meters of torque. Now, the power is still sent to the front wheels via a CVT transmission. Now, what changed here is the fuel economy. You see, when I drove the 2020 Tiggo 5X Lux last year, I got dismal fuel economy figures with only 6 in the city and 12 in the highway. However, after driving this thing for several days now, the refreshed 2021 Chery Tiggo 5X Lux gave me 10.5 kilometers per liter in the city and 14 kilometers per liter in the highway. Now, it seems that Chery Auto made some ECU tuning adjustments to the air-fuel ratio mix or maybe even the timing to give you a much improved fuel economy figure. Now, that is the mark of a really good car maker. They listen to feedback, they make adjustments, and they improve their product. The cabin of the refreshed Tiggo 5X Lux remains the same as the one that I reviewed last year. As such, we still get the same soft leather seats here with power adjustments on the driver's seat. The steering wheel is also leather wrapped, and we do get cruise control here, something that you don't really expect to get in the budget crossover segment. The steering wheel, however, only tilts because it doesn't telescope. Now, that is expected at this crossover segment. Now, the instrument gauge cluster is a fully digital layout here, and it's laid out in the same format as the larger Tiggo 8 and the Tiggo 7 Pro. Now, I must admit, guys, I'm not really the biggest fan of this layout because I personally prefer to have something a little bit more traditional. Now, the infotainment system is the same 9-inch touchscreen infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and QD-Link for those with Android phones. Now, the reverse camera image also comes out here, and the camera image quality is pretty decent, but it's still not as good as the ones found in the newer Tiggo 7 Pro. Now, Chery Auto also updated the speaker system of this refreshed Tiggo 5X Lux, and based on my experience, yes, there was a marginal improvement in the audio quality, but it's barely detectable. Almost the same, guys. Now, we also have here a manual climate control system, plus an electronic parking brake with an auto hold feature, something that is making its way down to these budget or value crossover segment. We also have here a couple of cup holders, which we will subject to our clean canteen test. We'll find out if it fits. Well, the cup holder to the back fits the clean canteen. The one to the front, whoop, doesn't fit it. So it's it's still a pass, guys. At least one cup holder fits the clean canteen. Now, when you look at the entire, cabin or cockpit of this refreshed Tiggo 5X Lux, you get a lot of soft touch materials that makes this cabin, punch way above its weight class. Now, you still get some plastics here and there, but I love how Chery Auto managed to bring in a good interplay of different textures to make it feel a little bit more upscale. Now, the fit and finish is also pretty good, and it's something that you don't really expect in a crossover that's below 1 million Philippine pesos. The back seat is one of the more spacious ones in the subcompact crossover segment. I'm 5'6", guys, and this is my driving position. And as you can see, I get around 6 inches of knee room here and another 6 inches of headroom. Now, you could fit 3 average size adults here at the back seat, and they will still be pretty comfortable. Now, as I mentioned, in this refresh, the Tiggo 5X Lux now gets a pair of rear AC vents here, which is a blessing considering that we live in a hot tropical country. Now, aside from that, we don't really get any other toys here except for, ISOFIX anchors. Alright, guys, so we're now driving the refreshed Tiggo 5X Lux, and the first thing I noticed is that low-end grunt. You see, in my previous review video, I mentioned that the Tiggo 5X Lux lacked low and grunt, and that's mainly due to that naturally aspirated 1.5-liter engine, that CVT transmission, all pulling a pretty heavy body. Well, it seems that Chery Auto has taken my previous review video to heart because this thing feels peppier and more eager to pull. Now, granted, it still won't win in a stoplight drag race against, let's say, the Geely Coolray or the GAC GS3 or the Kia Stonic. Well, it might pace the Kia Stonic because that is also one slow bugger. Now, what I'm trying to say here, guys, is, well, this thing has a bit more low and grunt now, and that tells me that Chery Auto retuned the CVT transmission, giving me that added, well, power down low. Now, it's not really much, but it's still better than what we experienced last year. The NVH levels of the Tiggo5x Lux seems to have also improved quite a little bit. You see, the decision of Chery Auto Philippines to replace the Chowian tires to the GT Comfort tires that we now have resulted in a quieter ride, especially on the highway. When I took this out on the expressway at 90 kilometers per hour, tire noise was practically non-existent. However, at 90 kilometers per hour, well, the wind noise started to creep in, and it seems that this Tiggo5x Lux seems to be more of a happy cruiser at around 70 to 80 kilometers per hour. You could take it up to 90, but it will take some time, and well, you will get there eventually. Now, when it comes to acceleration, well, this thing is still pretty dismal. It seriously needs a sport mode, or better yet, a turbo. Now, those of you who want maximum passing power, well, you better look elsewhere, guys. The Tiggo5x is better suited for hypermilers or people who prefer to drive at a relaxed pace. Now, I understand the other car reviewers who got the same dismal fuel economy figures that I got from last year. I mean, if you really just want to squeeze out maximum power from this thing, you'd really try to stomp on that gas pedal, but well, the power really isn't there. However, if you try to drive a little bit more sensibly, keep your revs to below 2000 RPM, well, and let the CVT just build up the power really slowly, well, your fuel economy would improve by a lot. Now, that would just mean that it would take you a lot of time to build up on your speed, but don't worry, guys, you will get there eventually. Now, the cabin comfort remains the same as the Tiggo5x from last year because of these soft leather seats, and the climate control is also quite cold. Now, I love that they also gave us rear AC vents now, so that means that your rear passengers will have well, a cooler experience at the back. However, well, if you're driving on a hot sunny day, you might as well close this sunshade and cover your sunroof for maximum coolness. Well, since it looks like Chery Auto has retuned this refreshed Tiggo5x Lux, it's time to see if these changes are enough to help it negotiate my steep parking ramp. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment of truth. Here you go. Oh yes, mission accomplished. The Chery Tiggo5x Lux has completely redeemed itself. It was just a matter of retuning the ECU to give it a bit more low-end grunt plus better fuel economy. In the end, that, my friends, is the mark of a quality car maker. They listen to feedback, make adjustments, and improve their product. Now, if only the next Tiggo5x Lux will have a turbo. Maybe they'll listen again. But anyway, guys, see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.